In what may be very coincidental timing, following the Vox adpocalypse, we are now hearing reports of another Vox Media walkout. So this happened the other day, but it's an interesting story that I definitely want to break into because I always find it strange that there are unions, people who are asking for more money, according to Vox CEO, above market wages at a time when digital media is on the verge of collapse, and Vox, just according to this report, broke even last year. If Vox isn't making money, they can't pay you more. So what does the union think they're going to get other than to speed up the bleed at which their company collapses and they lose their jobs? Maybe that's the point. Maybe they know the collapse is soon. All these other companies are laying people off and collapsing. They're shifting to in-house studios as opposed to, news outlets. Maybe Vox thinks when it all comes crashing down, they want to make sure they're wearing parachutes. I can respect that for sure. But let's read into the story. Before I get started, make sure you go to timcast.com/donate if you'd like to support my work, because I too would appreciate a parachute. You never know if YouTube's going to come down and crack the ban hammer on my channel. So the only thing that keeps me going, that safety net, that dam keeping the floodwaters out, is all of you who provide support through my donation site. So the other way you can support the video is just like, comment, share, and subscribe. But let's read and see what's happening over at Vox. From the Washington Post. Vox Media employees walk off the job in day-long effort to win new union contract. So this was yesterday. Before I read into this too, I want to just show you the latest tweet from the Vox union from several hours ago at the point of filming this, where you can see the lights are out and people are just standing by the windows. People are saying, "Stay strong. I won't give no scab my clicks." I think Vox is in serious trouble, especially after seeing the CEO statement about how they can't pay more than market wages. Why would they? They're not profitable. But let's read. Journalists at digital news upstart Vox Media walked off the job for the day on Thursday in a bid to secure a new collective bargaining agreement with the company. The labor action was one of the most aggressive moves yet taken by a newly unionized digital news company. Vox, which includes the real estate site Curbed, the food site Eater, the sports site SB Nation, and Vox.com itself, is one of a number of digital media operations whose workforces have voted to unionize in recent years. Despite organizing last year under the Writers Guild of America East, however, Vox's employees have not yet secured an agreement with management. Thursday was the final scheduled day of bargaining, which began in April of last year. Now, personally, let me just stress, I'm not a big fan of being in a union, but I certainly can agree with unionization. I think collective bargaining is way more important than a union, because unions take money from people to fund people to run their branch of the union or whatever. I just really don't like it. I've been in 2 unions in my life and I've seen nothing but corruption and greed. While I certainly think it's important to legally protect collective bargaining if the employees want to come together and challenge the company, yes, but unions have a bunch of weird rules and they actually inhibit in many ways getting better wages and improving yourself. In the early days of unions, it was straight up collective bargaining. Everyone just walked out. That was it. If your employees walk out, what do? Your business is done. So you say, okay, wait, come back. I'll pay you. Now it's weird legal restrictions, regulations, taking money out of people's paychecks, not allowing people to get a job unless they join the union. Nah, I'm not okay with that. If I ever worked for a company, a media company, and people asked me to unionize, I would say absolutely not. Been there, done that, did not have a good experience. I understand unions have done great things. That's fine. But in the end, it's collective bargaining. It's the right and the principle that have helped the workers, not the current iteration of what unions are. And I've seen this. I've seen the negative aspects of the laws restricting certain union actions, and it makes me think none of it makes sense. Did you know it's illegal for some unions to strike? I'm not going to get super into it, but that's the issue. It's like, what's the point of paying dues to people if you have legal restrictions on what you can or can't do instead of just quitting? Imagine if every employee was like, we quit. We're going to quit unless you pay us more. Then you'll see action. Instead, it's ridiculous posturing back and forth nonsense. So I'm a tepid milquetoast fence sitter, but for the most part, I personally would never join. No way. I would quit before that would happen. I do not want to be tied to other people in this capacity. I am my own person. But let's read on. They say in a show of resolve, some 300 employees stayed out of Vox's offices on Thursday, including its headquarters in Washington. The walkout left Vox.com, which specializes in news analysis, and its sister sites with little fresh content to post online. Vox's only timely story was its lead, attributed only to Vox staff, about President Trump's Fox News interview in which he insulted House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and former special counsel Robert S. Mueller III while speaking at an American military cemetery in Normandy, France for the 75th anniversary of the D-Day invasion. Now, I do want to point out that several stories were posted. I don't know if the Washington Post talks about this, but apparently Vox was reposting old stories with people's bylines. So staffers were, and I'm totally appalled by this. Seriously, I'm totally on the side of the union on this one. Vox was taking old stories and like publishing them or attributing people's bylines, something like that. I could be wrong, but it was something like that, where Vox union staff were like, I did not publish this story. They are doing this behind my back, because that's really dangerous. It could imply that these people are scabs or working behind the union's back. No. Not cool. Really creepy, actually. And that's what happens. But let's read on. The Writers Guild has been seeking a contract that contains salary minimums, guaranteed annual cost of living increases, severance provisions, and rules about the use of freelancers and subcontractors. As of late Thursday, a spokesman for the union, Jason Gordon, said, "It's possible we'll reach a deal, but we're looking at all options if one isn't reached." Now, I do want to stress here, I seriously, again, want to say, layoffs coming. This always happens. In most of the circumstances I've witnessed, as soon as that contract is hit, the company says, lay them off, because we got to find the money somewhere. If the company's breaking even, and then you say, we all want, a 3% raise, they're now 3% in the red across the board I should say for labor costs. What do you think they're going to do? Do you think they're going to be like, well, we just run out of money? No, the business has to stay afloat. There is not infinite money in the bank. The money can eventually run out, and then no one has a job. So what they'll do is they will lay off 3 to 5% of the staff. It's not just about breaking even. It's about making sure you're somewhat in the black. What people don't understand, especially these people who are demanding more money, is that the business might be, even if the business is profitable, generating revenue, there has to be a certain amount of money in the bank to maintain operations for a rainy day. If your business is paycheck to paycheck, breaking even every month, you're going to go out of business, because sooner or later something's going to happen, a power outage. Think about this. The other day at my house, there's a power outage, and I'm like, oh man, if the power doesn't come back on in the next half an hour, I do no video, no revenue. That's bad news. These things happen. Fortunately, I save. We're expanding, right? That's the point. You want to be able to have money set aside in case of emergencies. If Vox is just breaking even, they're not doing that. Asking for money is you basically saying, let's bleed the company out and stop its growth, stop its success. But you know what? This is what happens when a bunch of people come together and think they know better. Because sure enough, Vice Chief Executive Jim Bakoff declined to comment, but in a memo to employees on Thursday, he wrote that only a handful of economic issues remain to be resolved. While I'm disappointed that the union chose to take this action in the midst of good faith bargaining, especially as progress was being made, I am still committed to promptly resolving all outstanding issues, he wrote, adding, while paying people a lot more than market wages sounds great on the surface, it's not realistic or smart. It's really funny how the people who have to monitor money in, money out are the ones who are not the socialists, plain and simple. These young people, I've worked with them, don't seem to realize that there's no money coming in. Money can't be given to you if there is no money. It's like they think money is just the company goes, hey, we were just given a bunch of money by the government. Now we can give it out. That's not how it works. There has to be investment, or there has to be ad sales or some kind of sale, some kind of transaction. Whatever they're doing, you have to exchange goods and services for money. Then you can dish out that money to your staff. They're not doing this. And they don't seem to understand. It's like these staff are just like, we want higher than market wages. Why should you, first of all, why do you deserve higher than market wages? Now, I will stress, just because the CEO is saying that they're asking for higher than market wages doesn't mean they actually are. That could be his attempt to kind of get some good some press in his favor. But according to the reports I've seen, they break even. So that, okay, fine. They're breaking even. Then I'll tell you what, whatever your salaries are, congratulations, your company isn't going out of business and you get what you get. It really is mind-blowing to me because I've worked manual labor, and these people, their jobs are so insanely, I don't know what the right word is. I don't want to necessarily say easy. It can be certainly stressful trying to find something to produce. But I tell you what, you want to talk about stressful? Let's talk about lifting 50,000 pounds of luggage every day and injuring yourself. When I worked for O'Hare Airport, they have these conveyor belts for the smaller planes. It's this big, long thing. Conveyor belt, you press a button and it goes up like this, and then you throw the bags onto it. you push it. You push it with like a handlebar and it's got a motor and you drive it with like handlebars while you walk. The bigger planes have one where you drive. But I'll tell you what, do you know how many people have died because they've been crushed by these things against the planes due to error? Man, I could not imagine. I could not imagine being someone working in this office and being so upset that you're getting paid double or triple what these people at airports are getting paid. And I'll say this, some people are probably getting paid comparable. But at O'Hare Airport, when I worked there, the average person was making something like $27,000 a year. That was 10 years ago, so sure. Vice paid similarly. But a lot of these jobs in New York absolutely pay more than doing manual labor at an airport. And that's what's crazy to me. It's like, you know what, man, I get it. If you guys want to bargain for more because the company's turning a profit, not cutting you in, totally agree. If Vox was was profitable in the billions, I'd be like, hey man, time to dish some of that out to the people who make that content possible. When Vox is running on fumes and surviving on investment, and you say, gimme, 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 I'm like, you guys are nuts. You're burning everything down. It's crazy. So let's just we'll just wrap up, I guess. They say Vox's day-long walkout was bolder than other recent collective actions designed to jumpstart stalled negotiations. Employees at Thrillist, which covers food and entertainment, walked off the job for a day last summer in an effort to move negotiations along. Workers at Vice, Gizmodo, and Slate also authorized strikes, but didn't walk out. All four companies eventually came to an agreement with workers. Interestingly, I don't want to say they all did, but we did see a bunch of layoffs, especially at Vice. So as of right now, the last tweet from Vox, as the time of filming this, it may have changed by the time I publish. It looks like they're still bargaining. So, well, I'll leave it there. But again, my opinion is that they're going to lay people off like crazy to make up these costs. And that's the craziest thing about the idea of the union to me, is that which one of you is going to be the expendable? Which one of you is going to be the one who gets laid off? All of these people come together and they convince you, hey, join our union and we're going to negotiate and get you more money. And what they're really saying is, I've got seniority and I'm important. We're going to negotiate. I'm going to get more money from your paycheck. Seriously, money isn't infinite, okay? If they negotiate higher, I guarantee, I shouldn't say that, but I'd be willing to bet they will find low seniority people in jobs that they think aren't as important. They'll fire them, take that salary, and spread it out. Because they have to find the money somewhere. You can't just be like, give me more money. It's like, okay, from where? Well, it is what it is. Stick around. I got more stories coming up for you in a few minutes. For those on YouTube, it'll be at 4 p.m. youtube.com/Timcast. I will see you there.